Hey guys, so I just thought I'd go over some of the gear that I use in this video before I put out some more cover songs this week. Mainly in this video I'm just going to talk about the amp that I use and kind of some of the features about it. See if you guys might be interested, you might want to get one, see what you think about it. I think it's a great amp. I bought it about a year ago now, I think, and it's done great for just practicing here in my bedroom and doing cover songs and recording with it. It has a lot of features for outputs to record to your computer and stuff. So yeah, just the basic overview. It's a 10-inch speaker. They make a 25-watt version, I believe, which is an 8-inch speaker, and then an 800-watt version, which is technically 400 watts, I believe. But if you add a speaker, it goes up to 800 watts, and it is a 210 cab. And so the preamp up here is actually digital, and the nice thing about that is it cuts down on a good bit of weight on this. So my old amp was like an old Behringer 30-watt 10-inch speaker, I believe, and it was still a solid state amp, so it had a regular preamp, wasn't digital, just an analog preamp, and then a Class D power section, but it weighed like 35 pounds, almost 40. It was pretty heavy. Sometimes I had to carry it with two hands. I'm kind of weak. But this one is pretty simple. I can pick it up with just two fingers really easy. There's no issues. Which makes it really nice if you want to take it to a small little gig or to your friend's house or whatever. So I guess we'll start on the back here and show you some of the cool features for connecting it to stuff. One thing that I do really like about this is even though it's such a tiny little cab, it does come with a tweeter, but you can actually turn that horn or tweeter on or off. So you can actually have it sound like an enclosed cab or one that has no tweeter. I believe it does have, let me check, I think it has some ports on it. You can just pull this off. Yeah, it does have two ports down here, so you can get some decent low end out of it. And then, yeah, a little horn or tweeter over there. Personally, I usually play with the horn off because I kind of like more of a round sound. I had my P bass on it, so. And then just Velcro's back on. All right, so then moving on. The main way that I record is through this little USB connector here. It's just a micro USB. And then that just plugs straight into your computer's USB slot. And then just hook it straight up to GarageBand is how I do it. It works pretty simple. It does have the option for a foot switch if you want to control some of the effects that are on here. I don't use it. If I was in a live situation, I might use it, but it's mostly just for playing here at my house. So I have a big amp that I use for live shows and stuff, so I've actually never played with this one live yet. Hopefully I will soon. I'll try it out for like some small house shows or something. Let's see, and then you have two XLRs. You can actually do a pre and a post. So if you do play a small gig, you can send the pre to the PA if you want, or to the sound engineer. They can get a nice clean sound. And then you also have your just regular line outputs if you don't want to use those. And then you also have your effects loop down here. And another thing, you can actually do Bluetooth on your phone. And you can pair it up with the, I believe it's the Fender Tone app. And then you can actually control the settings on here through your phone. That's really the only issue I've had with it so far. Sometimes that Tone app gets kind of weird and doesn't want to connect sometimes, but most of the time I just control it on the amp anyways because I'm just doing covers and stuff. So then you just got your basic input, of course, your gain, bass, treble, mid, and master. And if you want to play silent, you can use your headphones. It just uses a basic 1/8 cable, plug it into your headphones. Same thing with the aux. If you want to plug in, I guess nowadays you'd have to plug into an old iPod or something, but it does have that option. Or if you want to plug it in from your computer, I guess you could do that. Let's see. Over here, you can turn the effects on or off. So like right now on this setting, it has like reverb setting on it. So if you just want to cancel all the effects, just click that and it turns them straight off, bypasses them. So it's to save any settings that you might have changed. You can do a save as if you want to do it as a completely different preset and not, you know, mess with the one that's already on here. Or you can just rename it. So if you click on that, you can just change it to whatever you want. You want to name it after, you know, sometimes I'll name it after like the cover song that I'm doing or something, so I just don't forget it. And let's see, so yeah, this is your switch knob right here that changes all your effects and amps and stuff. You can add stuff into the effects chain before, like over here, or after the amp that you've chosen. So right now it's on the Super Bassman amp. And then, let's see, over here just basically changes the entire setting. So if you move that, it's going to change to an entire new preset basically. And it comes with, I think, 100 presets already downloaded onto it. I usually use like maybe 10 of those. The rest of them I just kind of make up, especially for like when I'm doing the cover songs. I just try to get it as close to the actual sound as I can. So, but you can put 200 presets in here. So 100 through 200 are just empty ones. Then you click on here, and that's how you get to all your settings for your amps and effects. And then down here, so you can actually change the settings for the amp or the effect. So it's not just these actually. These are your basic controls that you have here, which can also be controlled over here. So if you have the gain over here, you can actually control it with this. Or you can use your little knob over here. You have to click on it. And then you can change it that way if you want to be super precise with it. It goes, you know, all the way up to, I believe, 10 to 1. You can do in betweens like 5.8, 5.7 if you want to get super precise with it. Just click on that. And then the only one that's not controlled over here actually are, even though the master is over here, this really just controls this whole speaker itself. It doesn't actually control the amp settings in here. So while the gain you can control with that over here, the volume actually you have to control with this little knob right here. So if you imagine you have your amp in this little box, like the actual head of an amp, you would have your gain and your master, and then you can actually have a volume to control the overall tone of that amp within this speaker essentially. It's kind of confusing, but you get used to it. So if you don't want this whole speaker to be super loud when this is turned up like full blast, you can control it. You can limit it basically with the volume in here or with the master. So if you scroll over, so same thing with this master, you control that with this knob. It's not actually this. This just controls this cap. So you have options like this, your kind of low switch, bright switch. You can actually change the cabinet as well. You can do compressors, gates, gate position, and you can actually change whether you want it to have like a more equal or less kind of bias. Let's see, if you imagine it being a tube amp, this would essentially be like controlling the bias on it, but you're doing it, you can do it digitally on here. So you can get pretty in depth with this little amp. It's kind of cool. So then, yeah, like I was saying, you can actually control the cabinets as well. So this is on a vintage 8x10, and you can have the Pro model ones, the Neo ones, or a vintage cab. And I believe most of these cabinets are based off of Fender cabs. So you have a 412, yeah, 59 Bassman, Goliath, Pro, 15. See your redhead. Actually, no. Okay, so I guess it kind of goes with the same way that the amps on here are as well. I think most of them are based off of Fender cabinets, but there are some that are based off of other ones, such as the amps that are on here. So I'm just going to put that back on vintage. That's the one I use the most. It sounds pretty good. Pretty much any of the amps on here. So then if we go to the amps, yeah, so they're all replications of Fender amps basically, but they do have some that are based off of other ones, like they have their idea of a Ampeg or a SWR amp and cab, or I believe they have the Gallion Krugers on here. You can do just 2 preamps or studio preamps as well if you want just a clean sound. So you have the Fender Rumble, basically the Bassman, the Showman, the Bassman again, Bassman Pro, Monster. I'm not sure what that one is exactly. I think these are supposed to be based off the high watts, the British ones. You have the redhead, which is the SWR, the Gallion Krugers, flip tops, Ampeg, and then you have the Ampeg. This is basically just like an Ampeg, just an Ampeg classic 300 watt head. You have the acoustic amps, Super Bassman, and yeah. And then, like I was showing earlier, I think the cabinets are basically kind of matched to this. They're kind of the same as far as options go. And then if you want to move over to the effects, you have a whole list of effects here. These are just like the categories. So we got stomp boxes, you have the different bass overdrives, there's a couple of fuzzes in there. The Octobot's kind of weird. It's like a fuzz and an octave pedal together. Modulation, you have your choruses, phasers, filters, tremolos, vibratos. All your different delays are on here. So for example, let's just pick this mono delay. So like I was saying, you can take the delays or any effects pedal, and then you can click down here, select it, click down here, and then you can actually control every option within that pedal. So you can change all the different timing, the delays on it, the feedback, attack, and then the overall level coming into it. And then if you like to change it up, and try different things, you can put them, most of the time you're going to put, most of your effects at the end of the chain, but you can put some ahead as well if you want to experiment and do different sounds like that. So let's go back to and then you can always just bypass a single one, replace it. You can move it, like I said, to the front or the back of the chain, add more, and then you can always just delete it. So let's just do replace. So it takes you back to here. So go to reverb. You got all your different reverbs on here. I actually prefer, you can even do a shimmer. It's kind of weird. Tried that already on bass. It's kind of weird sounding. I usually use the small or the large hull if I'm doing like a cool picking arpeggiated thing or something. It sounds good. And then you have your dynamics, so your compressors, which they actually work fairly well. I've tried them on my 5-string bass. You can now use sustain, some gates, and then you can do a graphic EQ on here if you want as well. And then your filters and pitches. You can do wah pedals on here, envelope filters, step filters, pitch shifters. So like some of these pedals would be good to use with the foot switch as it connects around the back, probably. I might try to get one of those at some point and just mess around with it. So this tap button, that works. You can change the tempo with the knob, or you can actually tap it and tap out the rhythm that you want to go with, and that works well for like chorus pedals and I think maybe phasers, I'm not sure. That's typically more of like a guitar thing, but you can use it, I know, for chorus pedals and stuff. I did use that one time for a couple of songs. And then your menu over here, you can actually set up, this is kind of cool, you can set up a set list and add different presets. So like a whole preset you have on here, like if it's number 1 or number 5, and set them up in a certain order. You can click through those through here, or if you have the foot switch, I guess, or on your phone, and pick your presets that way. So it's a little bit quicker if you had if you were in a cover band, for example, and then you could switch between your presets like that for different songs. So that's kind of cool. And you can actually put them in the cloud as well. Then you have your Wi-Fi and Bluetooth settings. And you can actually change the overall amp setting itself. So like the actual EQ of the amp, if you want it flat or bright or a low cut before you even mess with any of these settings. I usually keep it on flat. Your line and output gain. So when you're doing the recording, if you want it completely flat or a boosted signal out of the USB, if you're recording the GarageBand or something like that. You have a preset organizer where you can move your presets around, and then that would literally restore the amp to stock settings. Yeah, and then you have some line out controls as well, as far as if you want it on the pre-post or stereo. So if you come down more to the foot switch, this is where you can actually control it if you want to do, I guess there's 2 different types of foot switches you can get. You can get an expression pedal if you wanted to use it for, say, those wah pedals and the pitch shifters. And then there's one that you can get that just has like 4 buttons you can click to just switch between presets on the foot switch as well. And go down one more, and then it actually has a fairly decent built-in tuner in here. Like, I haven't had any issues with it being that off or anything compared to my Boss pedal, so I typically just use that when I'm tuning. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I could spend all day showing you this, so I'm just giving you the basic overview. I'm not going to play any different sounds and stuff. That would take all day. But yeah, this is basically what I use to record with. Yeah, it works great for me just here at the house. I'm probably going to try to use it when me and my friend do a house show soon and see how it goes. But yeah, if you guys have any questions about it, let me know. If you guys have any questions or comments about any of the covers that I'm doing, send me some requests or just questions or anything.